What's up, guys? Yeah, I'm going live again. See who I can drum up tonight on this wonderful Sunday. This wonderful Sunday evening. And if you're watching this after the fact, then welcome. Because currently there are 0 participants. And I don't know, I don't really have any kind of goals here as far as what I'm trying to do with this live stream. Just trying to engage with my audience, I reckon, and see what comes of it. Because I know I haven't really put out a whole lot of new content in the recent months. You know, some stuff of what I'm working on, building this sawmill shed and whatnot. But I've made a lot of different types of videos in the past, and stupid notifications popping up. So, my videos are very random in topic because I really don't make videos for you all. The videos that I make are pretty much for me, um, to document the different things that I'm working on and stuff like that. What's up? I got 2 viewers. What's up? What's up, peeps? Give me a shout in the chat. Um, like I said, the videos that I pretty much make on my channel are pretty much to document my life. They're for me. They're not really for you guys. NMB803, hello. Good to see you. As well as the 11 others who have just randomly joined. What's up, y'all? Give me a shout. Give me a shout in the comments. Ava Pedlo, hello. How are y'all doing tonight? How's everybody doing? I want to know how y'all are doing and what y'all are up to. And Jonah. What's up, Jonah? What's up, Jules? You sweet little guinea pig thing, you. Oh, boop, 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 boop. Yes, I am a goofball. And I will say hello to your guinea pig. But yeah, I mean, I was just explaining how, I make very random videos. Oh, good, she's happy now. Good deal. My topics range from this to that, all over the place, because I don't really make content for the general public. I pretty much use my channel to document what I'm working on in the moment, for just for my own personal documentation. I look like your grandpa. Thanks, Ninja. uh, I appreciate it. I'm 43, and my ex of 10 years gave me all this gray. Okay, 10 years ago, I only had about 1 or 2 little gray strands in here. and and after being with her for 10 years. We're no longer together, but after being with her for that amount of time, she gave me all this gray. You see all that gray? Yes, I got nappy hat hair. I got nappy hat hair. And look, you can see all this gray in the course of that 10 years. And let me tell you, it was a roller coaster ride with her. Okay? What's up, everybody? Say hi. Say hi in the comments. Because I want to know how y'all are doing. All of y'all. I want to know how all of y'all are doing. Um, I haven't made much content lately except for what I've been working on recently with the sawmill shed build and cutting up lumber on the sawmill. I'm helping out my uncle that just relocated from California to Texas, back to our native territory here in Texas. And we've got some equipment. He's got uh, a John Deere tractor that we utilize on a daily basis, and we got a little D3 dozer, and we just bought a crane truck. And I mean, I can see if let's see if I can flip this camera around. Oh, I can flip it around. I don't have good reception on this property, but I will attempt. I'm sitting in my truck. I will attempt to show you guys. That's our crane truck that we bought. And that's my little pride and joy right there. I'm real happy about that. Because that sucker right there will get work done. That's an old electric company crane truck. And we got it rigged up pretty well. We got it rigged up, and we're going to be using it to set our trusses. And it's got all kinds of cool toolboxes, that we keep our tools in. And over here, we got this really cool. We got some really cool tools. This right here is a chain mortise, and I've been using it on this project here. See, that's our dozer. That's our dozer we got. And I've been using that to clear out our 6 acres of woods that we got back there. And that's our little, see if I can zoom in on that. I can. That's our that's our woodshed that we got for storing some of our wood that comes off. And this right here is our little pallet, our railroad pallet. So we got it on a railroad system. If you see, you can see the wheels down there. We got it on a little railroad. And I'm milling up some 2x4s that, see, we can pull this thing in and out. I'll grab a hold of this guy right here. I can pull this thing by hand because it's not loaded up very good. But what we do is we hook onto those with the tractor there, and we pull this thing in and out. It was loaded way up to here, 6 foot high with material that we used to build all this. This is what I built over the last couple of months, pretty much by myself. And we used our crane over there to set a lot of these upper beams because they're 12 foot in the air, and couldn't really do it. All these over here are like 10 foot high, and I was able to use the tractor here with the forks and picked those beams up, and I was able to set those beams with the tractor. But then we got the crane truck, because over here on the 12-foot end, it was just a little too tall for the tractor, and so we were able to set all those crane. And back there in the back, along that back wall there, that's where we're going to be rigging up the sawmill. Right now, the sawmill is just sitting on the trailer over here, and it's not the best setup, but it's a good sawmill, and we can mill up 16-foot material with this thing. It'll be a lot better once we get it mounted on the ground. But then we got our wood pile, and all this has got to be cut up for firewood. It's just excess. That's our little wood shed where we're storing our slabs, because when we cut up a log, there's slabs that come off. And so right now I'm in the process of getting our slabs stacked up. And so, yeah, I mean, that's basically our little operation we got going on here. He bought an old church that was no longer being used as a church, and so we're that's what we're living in. And I notice everybody left, which is fine. And so what's up, person that just joined my stream? What's up? What are you up to tonight? I was just showing everybody my little operation here that we got going on. We got a little crane truck, we got a dozer, and a tractor, and a sawmill, and we got all sorts of cool stuff. We even got a dump truck. I forgot to show the dump truck over there. It's got a trailer hooked onto it right now. You can't really see it, but anyways. So, yeah, I mean, I get it that nobody wants to stick around. Nobody wants to stick around and talk to a dumb redneck. But, you know, say hi in the comments if you feel so inclined. And let me know how you're doing tonight. Let me know if there's anything that you want to talk about, because I'll talk about anything. Let's talk. Come on, I know y'all got something on your minds. Nope. There you go. Out. So let's see if anybody else joins up. If anybody else has the cojones to say something. I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. Why? Because people don't have cojones anymore. They don't. So let's just see. I'll just say hi to anybody who joins up. I'll just say hi to them, and I'm going to sit here and I'm going to drink my wine. And I'm just going to sit here and wait. So far, it's still 0. There we go. What's up, people? What's going on? How y'all doing tonight? Are y'all brave enough to say hello? I don't know. I kind of highly doubt it. A fact I know that we may not know. You sure you want to go down that road? Because I got one for you. A fact I know that you may not know is that money is not real. There, in fact, is no such thing as money. The money, the so called money that we utilize on a daily basis, called a Federal Reserve note, is just that. It is a note. It is not money. It is only good for discharging debts. And it all goes back to the Great Depression of 1933, when Congress came in and they actually created a new money, and they redefined gold. And what they did is they made all notes, such as promissory notes, financial instruments, notes, drafts, bills of exchange, bankers' acceptances, trade acceptances, they made all of that new gold, because the Constitution says that no state may coin anything but gold and silver as money. Okay, as money. Gold and silver was to be used as money. It wasn't money itself, it was just to be used as money. And so, to get around that, what they did is they just redefined what gold was, and they said that from now on, these different instruments, these different financial instruments, would be deposited with the bank and or the Federal Reserve and or the Treasury uh, as the new gold, as security and the new gold. And so when they did that, what they did was is that new money would back the Federal Reserve notes, and that is that is what backs our money today, is the notes, drafts, bills of exchange, bankers' acceptances, trade acceptances. And see, that was such a boring fact that nobody stuck around, even though it was a fact. You can look it up. It's a fact. So let's go for round two. This is actually round three, because we had one group of people that came in and, oh, you wrote it down. You like it. Oh, so you're still here. Oh, it shows that I have 0 people watching. That's interesting. Okay. But yeah, there's a lot more information about this, and so basically, ever since the Great Depression, we've been operating under this state of emergency that was declared in 1933 by the president, and it's been being continued every single year since that year. And the 1976 Committee on National Emergencies confirms that this the national emergency from 1933 is still ongoing, and it still is to this day. We're still under a banking emergency where you know the the old system has been done away with, and this new system of bankruptcy. The United States was in bankruptcy. The United States declared bankruptcy in 1933 when they took us into this new system. And so, uh, the money that we have, these Federal Reserve notes that we utilize to pay for things, it's just a piece of paper. It's just paper, and uh, and it's not backed by gold. It's backed by paper. So how can paper money be backed by paper when it's all just paper? How does that make any sense? There's nothing of value that it's being backed by. Even the United States Treasury a few years back had stated on their website that Federal Reserve notes in and of themselves are worthless and they can't be redeemed in any commodity of any kind whatsoever. That in and of themselves they are worthless. So, you know, what what good is it? What value does it have? It has no value. The money that we're using today has absolutely no value. So, well, it may be arbitrarily valued, gold and silver. It's the value that people are willing to pay for it, or that I mean, it's been 100 years almost since back then gold was $35, or sorry, $25 an ounce. It was $25 an ounce, and and uh, and nowadays, I haven't looked up the price of gold, but uh, in a month or so, but last time I looked, it was over $4,000 an ounce, and that's because you know uh, somebody is setting the price, and so yeah, it's arbitrarily valued. You know, but what is value? You know, what is value? Well, it's not that you can't make more gold, because you can always go out and find more gold in the ground where it comes from. And so you can always accumulate more gold. But, uh, you know, what is the value of paper? You know, I mean, paper is virtually worthless. You can find it anywhere. You can go dig paper out of the trash. You can't dig gold out of the trash. But you can go dig gold out of the ground if you know where to look. You can dig gold straight out of the ground because that's where it comes from. And it has value because it can be utilized for so many different things. It's utilized in computers. It's utilized for jewelry. It's utilized for ornamental stuff. People have treasured gold for and silver for a long time. So, it's gold and silver has basically been the basis for the system of money for thousands and thousands of years, even all the way back, you know, as far as history goes, because gold, for some reason, it has value. It's just a mineral from the ground. It's just a metal from the ground, but you know, because of its ability to hold its luster, it doesn't tarnish. It doesn't rust. Um, People have different civilizations and all that kind of stuff have worshipped gold, or highly treasured gold as valuable for a long time, and so it's sort of been the main um, commodity to utilize in trade as money. And so you know, it is what it is. I mean, really anything can be money, you know. You can utilize sticks for money, or rocks for money, or seashells for money, you know. And lots of cultures did that sort of thing, thousands of years ago. It's just, what do you consider as valuable? A lot of people would trade corn for chickens, or they would trade different things of value for other things of value. And it's just about what has value, and what has uh, what has value. What can you utilize something for? You could go out and cut grass, and you could trade that for something else that had value. Because to somebody that grass might be worth something, because they might take that grass and feed their livestock with it. So to them, that grass has value. And the person that they trade that grass to, they might have eggs to trade for the grass, because they have chickens that lay eggs. They say, okay, I'll trade you your grass for my eggs. You've got all this grass. Well, I can give you all these eggs, and we both have something of value that the other person wants or might want. Oh, absolutely. Digital money is an even bigger sham, because what is digital money? What is it? What value does it have? How can you utilize it to benefit your life? You know, uh, it's just a number on a hard drive or on a computer screen. It's not. It has no tangible substance. It's not anything. It's just a concept. It's just an idea. It's 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 nothing. But the same thing can be said for the dollar, because the dollar is nothing. It's absolute nothing. It's virtually just a piece of paper with some ink on it. So, you know, it might have. I mean, what does a piece of paper with some ink on it? What kind of value does that have? Well, if you can't do anything with it, then if you can't eat it, and you can't utilize it to build anything with, I mean, you could burn it to keep you warm, but you know, it would take a whole lot of those dollars to keep you warm, because it's each dollar is very small. But you take $100 bill, it's the same size as a $1 bill, but it has more value. Why? Because there's no it's not bigger. The $100 bill is not bigger than a $1 bill, but yet it's 100 times more valuable. Why? Why is the $100 bill 100 times more valuable than the $1 bill? Yeah, I get what you're saying, because the only value that money possesses are people's willingness to Utilize it. What's up, Sir Weird? I see you're back. The only value that money has is the willingness of people to utilize it to barter with, because that's all they're doing is bartering with it. And so, the same can be said about digital currency. The 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 only value that it has is people's willingness to utilize it as money. That's the only value that it has. In and of itself, it has no value whatsoever. You can't hold a digital currency in your hand. You can't do it. It's impossible. Sir Weird, I already said hi. Stop the nonsense. Good night. Oh, shit my britches. We're talking about money and how it has no value. Because you're so late to the game. You're late to the game. We're 30 minutes in. I ended the stream last night after 30 minutes. What are you doing? Seriously, what are you doing? Oh, it has a bit of value? Digital money is not free. You actually you have to exchange uh, you have to exchange Federal Reserve notes or some other foreign currency to be able to obtain digital currency. The problem is it has increased in value so much since its inception. I remember when Bitcoin was at $300 per Bitcoin. Uh, this was back in like 2015 or something like that when I first heard about it. And I wanted to buy, one or two Bitcoin back then. And nowadays, I haven't looked at the price recently, but nowadays I'm pretty sure it's over 70,000. So my $300 purchase of a Bitcoin back in 2015 would have yielded me $70,000 in today's time. So you could look at it as free money, but back then I didn't have 300 extra dollars to be able to buy a Bitcoin. I didn't have it. I didn't have it. And so it's not that it was free, it was just really cheap. But most people didn't see what I saw, which is that, the world is eventually going to go to a digital currency, and this whole Bitcoin thing was, the first of its kind to come out, and it was just coming out, and it was gaining momentum, and I saw where things were going, but nobody else seen it. Nobody else seen it. I seen it, but all my friends and family that I tried to, explain it to, they couldn't get on board with it because they couldn't see it. They couldn't see it. Bite those nails, Sir Weird. Bite them. It ain't going to do you no good. You're just going to chew your fingers off. So, you know, if I'd had the extra money to be able to buy Bitcoin, I would have done that. Because I could cash out now while money is still a thing, and I'd buy me some land and I'd build me a house. But I can't do that because I was working for minimum wage back then, and every dime was going to bills. And see, that's what the rulers of this world, that's the exact position they want us in. They don't want us to be able to get ahead in life. They want to keep us down. They want to keep us struggling. So they hide all the information about finances from us that would cause us to prosper. We all have the capability of operating as our own bank and to create money out of thin air, just like the banks do. Because that's exactly what they do. They create money out of thin air. When you go get a loan from a bank, you're not getting a loan. You're creating money out of thin air. And they know that, but they know that you don't know that. So they take advantage of that and they capitalize on that. And so all the money that you create when you get a loan, because let's say you get a $150,000 loan from the bank to buy a new house. Well, you're not actually getting a loan from the bank. What you're actually doing when you give them your promissory note with your signature on it is you are creating $150,000. But really, you're creating more than that because the banks practice what's called fractional reserve banking, where they get to fractional reserve up to 900%. And so you get a loan for, let's say, $100,000 to buy a house, a cheap house in Texas. And what the bank does is they, on your behalf, borrow from the Federal Reserve, not 100,000. No, because they practice fractional reserve banking. So what they do is they over collateralize your so-called loan, and they get $900,000 from the Federal Reserve deposited in a special account that is in your name, but that you don't have access to. It's called the restricted collateral account. So they get $900,000 for your $100,000 loan. And as if that wasn't enough, because you don't know that it's not a loan, they proceed to collect payments from you for 30 years or 40 years, however long the loan is for, okay? They're going to get that $100,000 back on top of the $900,000 that they just got from the Federal Reserve, okay? And so because the truth of the matter is, the reason they get that money from the Federal Reserve is because the moment you deposit that note, that promissory note with them, it's no longer your obligation to pay that loan because of what happened in 1933. It's the government's obligation. It's an obligation of the United States. Why? Because they took the money, the real money, out of the system. That's right. They took our ability to pay out of the system. because the state shall make nothing but gold and silver as money. And what did they do in 1933? They made gold and silver illegal to own. They made everybody who held gold and silver turn that over to the government at $25 an ounce. And they paid everybody $25 an ounce. A couple months later, guess what happened to the price of gold? They jacked it up to $35 an ounce. And they instantly almost doubled their money. And so because they took the money out of the system and you can no longer pay or demand payment in gold or silver, then then they uh, and because what else they did is they claimed all the property of all the people in the United States as government property. That all the property of all the people in the United States would represent the credit of the nation. And because they were in a state of emergency and in bankruptcy, then they assumed 90% of the responsibility for any kind of loan that somebody took out from the bank. So that's where the whole 10% down came from. You had to put 10% down when you go to the bank and you get a loan. It's because the government is responsible for 90% of that loan. You're only responsible for 10%. So when you go buy a house and you put 10% down, your obligation is done. You paid for that house free and clear. And the government is obligated to pay the 90% remaining on that. It's an obligation of the United States. It's called the Federal Reserve Act, the act of Congress that was amended March 9th, 1933, that makes the government obligated to pay 90% of all debt, because all property is because all the property of all the people in the United States would represent the credit of the nation. They basically claimed ownership of all the property of all the people in the United States. Your house, your car, your clothes, your person. That's where the whole Social Security system was enacted around, and your future labor is considered uh, property of the United States, and they put a value on it. They even put a value on it. You've probably heard that your birth certificate is worth millions of dollars because they expect you to produce millions of dollars worth of economic value by participating in society. And so each person to them is millions of dollars worth of property that they own, because you're a citizen, a subject of the United States. So, that's what entrapped us into this whole slave system of what has become the United States of America. And, that's why the government tells us what to do instead of us telling the government what to do. Because that's how it was originally set up, was we told the government what to do, not the other way around. The government is not supposed to rule over the people. People are supposed to rule over the government. An artful analogy, or certification actually valuable? I don't really understand. What certification? What certification is that? Oh, the birth certificate. Yeah, it's a security, and you're the rightful owner of that security. And so you don't have to sell it, but it does have value. And you can account for its value, and you can even monetize its value if you know what you're doing. But it's not a straightforward process. See, the government became responsible for uh, that was Roosevelt's New Deal in 1933 when they amended the Federal Reserve Act. Is that you'll hear it called the New Deal. No, you don't just walk into nowhere and have it appraised. No, you don't do that. So part of the New Deal was, look, the people give up their gold. Government said, look, we're in debt to all the banks. We're in debt to all the banks, and unless you give up your gold, then we're screwed. You know, we don't have enough money to pay for nothing, and unless you give up your gold, then you know we're we're things are just going to keep getting worse. So here's the deal. This was the New Deal. You give up your gold, and we'll take care of you. We got you. We're going to pay for your house. We're going to pay for your car. We're going to give you a job. We're going to pay for your food. We're going to pay for all of your necessities. For the necessities of life. That was the deal. That our life necessities would be taken care of. And that's where the whole uh, welfare system was derived from. It was derived based on that. And so the government is actually required by law to provide for our electricity, our water, our home, our vehicles, our gas for our vehicles, our food. They're supposed to, yes, the greatest scam of all time. They're supposed to be providing for all that stuff because we gave up our gold. We willingly handed over our gold to get the government out of trouble. Okay, and so they are by law responsible for providing for all of our necessities of life. Okay, so since they have not been providing for those necessities, I haven't seen one red cent from the government. Okay, then yeah, basically, exactly. But we're the ones that decide what our necessities are. They like to think that they are the ones that decide, but really and truly, we are the ones that decide what our necessities are. Okay, we're the ones that decide. We're the ones who put a value on it. And so a little known fact is that we have an outstanding debt with the government that we can't collect. Government owes us a debt that we can't collect. How do we collect on that debt that that the government owes us for not providing us the necessities of life? How do we collect on that debt? there's a way. There's a way to collect on that debt. But most people are afraid to go down that path because of what they've been told about this certain entity. There's a way to do it, written right in the law, completely 100% lawful. That's right, it's all fake money, anyways. It's all fake money. But they have to, uh, they have to purport the illusion that it's real money. They have to keep that illusion going to the general population because we're looking at 90 years. Okay, we've totally grown up in a society where we don't know anything different. We think that money is money, you know. These Federal Reserve notes, they're actual money. But we didn't experience the Great Depression. We don't know what it was like before that. We can only read about it, and they don't teach us about it in school. They don't teach us about it in school. The only thing that they teach about the Great Depression in school is that it was a hard time. That's all they teach about it. They don't teach none of the details. They don't teach us what really went on. They don't teach it. So, so we have a debt with the United States government. The government owes us for our existence. Like for me personally, I'm 43 years old, and they should have been paying for my rent, my utilities, my food, my car, my house, all that stuff for the last 40 years. So what can we do about it? Well, we can account for it is what we can do. We can write down all that, and we can go back and we can account for it all. And now then, we have a statement of accounting for all the debt that the government is liable for. Okay, in my case, I did the accounting, and the accounting uh, came up to, I was able to do the accounting for almost $3.5 million. Not a ton of money, but enough that I can retire on that $3.5 million. That's the debt that the government owes me that I can't collect. Now, if you go read IRS Tax Topic 453, you'll find out that if you have a bad debt that you can't collect, or I'm sorry, if somebody owes you money that you cannot collect, then you have a bad debt. And so what you can do is you can write off that bad debt. And that bad debt, when you write it off, it operates as a credit. And so when you write off a bad debt, the government allocates a credit to you. The IRS gives you a credit. And that credit is, it has a cash equivalent value of dollar for dollar. So essentially you just created, by forgiving that bad debt, by writing off that bad debt and forgiving that bad debt, you just created $3.5 million worth of a cash equivalent that you can then convert into a financial asset, and you can do all kinds of stuff with that financial asset by taking your bad debt and forgiving that debt and converting that debt. And so there's a lot of things about finances that they don't teach us in school or even in college that because they don't want us to know, they want us stuck in this daily grind of never getting anywhere in life, which is why I didn't have the $300 to buy Bitcoin. They want us stuck in this rat race, and and they give us bread and circuses to be happy. Yeah, there's a lot of misnomers about what FDR did and what he didn't do. You know, uh, they like to praise FDR about, oh, he brought us out of the Great Depression, blah, blah, blah. No, he didn't. He sold us into slavery, is what he did. And he sold us out to the banks. You know, it's a shame what FDR did. And if you go back and read the actual history from the newspapers and you actually see, you actually look at what actually happened instead of letting somebody else tell you what happened, then you'll see a whole different story. And you know, it's very interesting. It's a very deep rabbit hole to go down. And I went down that rabbit hole about 4 years ago, and you know, it took me about 2 years to start to understand it because it was a very deep rabbit hole, and you know, we're talking about stuff that they don't want us to know. They do not want us to know it, and you know, that's why you won't hear this kind of stuff anywhere else. You're not going to hear it. You're not going to hear it anywhere else. If you want to know, you know, if you want to know about it, do your research. Do your research, and you'll find out. Anyways, this has been a good talk. This has been a good talk, and I've enjoyed it. But I'm gonna have to go. So um, I hope to see you. Hope to see you on here again next time, whenever next time will be. So have a good night, and if you got anything else to say, hurry up and say it. If not, oh, there goes my light. See, that was almost perfect timing. Then I'll just see you next time. But yeah, good talk, and maybe we'll talk about something a little lighter next time. But have a good night. How do I end this thing? Oh yeah, it's the X button. All right, peace out, y'all.